There it is. Now they can see you.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning, bro.
Morning, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you getting on here with us. I think that this should be pretty valuable for everybody. It should be interesting, right? Change it up a little
Yeah,
bit. Now it's not
100%.
just me.
Exactly.
So if we go like this, now let me see if I can just get you on here as well, because now everybody can only see me, I believe. Let's go assign guest one. There it is. Now we got the split
There you
screen.
go.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. All right, bro. So let's. I'll pass you the stick. You want to walk us through GBP JPY yesterday, or you want to start with today and what you've done today? Have you taken any trades yet today?
I haven't. So I've just been watching GCAD to the downside, but obviously there's Canadian dollar news coming up at 2:30 South African time. I think that should be 8:30 your time.
Yep.
Um, yep. So I'm flat today, but I am watching GCHF as well with you, and then I had GJ and GU and EG atop my watch list. Um, but yeah,
Give
no
me your
signal
thoughts
on
on the
them
morning
as
so
of
far.
yet.
Give me your thoughts on the morning so
I think
far.
that yeah, I think that the market's been opening up quite a lot lately. Like there's been quite a few opportunities, whereas in the last couple of months even there hasn't been. It's been pretty dry. But yeah, the market seems to be opening up quite a lot. But yeah, so it's we have a big watch list this morning. Just no signals for me personally.
What do you think about this Euro GBP this morning? Why'd you stay out of it on the shift candle? And then, I mean, I know why you stayed out of this two candle formation because the RSI isn't right. But
Yes.
what kept you out of the shift candle? Was it the 4 hour zone or was it the low a day?
So I've actually been trading since the deep dive that we had about a month and a half ago. I've been liking, especially on shift candle entries, I've been liking using the 1 minute to get better risk to reward ratio. So I was waiting for 1 minute pullback. I think same as you said on the group on the chat that you're also watching for a 1 minute pullback, and I just didn't
Exactly.
get it. So I stayed out.
Got it. Okay, well that makes sense to me. What was the thought process behind yesterday's trade on GBP JPY, and when did you? I know you had two positions on it, so you're not still holding it, right?
No. I'm fully out of let me just get sorry there. Yeah, I'm fully out of GJ.
Yeah.
I do need to get better. That is my weakness. I do need to get better at holding trades. But I was out of GJ. So basically I can walk you through the trade yesterday. So I'm looking at the my main screen up at the top here.
Yeah.
You have the GJ open on the channel, right? On the
Yep.
live.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, yesterday when I got to the desk, so I always get to the desk around 10:30 South African time. So that's 4:30 Eastern times, New York time. Um, and what I liked, I immediately saw I liked GU and GJ for long biases. They had a big sell off coming out of the Asian range. As you can see, just dumped out of the Asian range. But I saw that the level that it came off yesterday. So it had a big push. GJ had a big push, and I believe also GU had a big push off the 800 and 200 EMAs the previous day.
Yep.
And I saw it pull back after the big sell-off. I saw that it was around this 800 EMA, which, as you know, can be a level. I do believe that it is the 4 hour 200, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken.
Yep.
Yep. And the 1 hour 50, 1 hour or 1 hour 200 and 4 hour 50, something
I
like
get what
that.
you're saying. It's a
Or
significant level
yeah,
on
yeah,
other
it's
time
a level.
frames. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. So and also what we've been with Asfx incorporating lately is yesterday's low and yesterday's high as levels that we need to be more aware of,
Yep.
because they can be levels of support and resistance, and it's kind of coming off. The 800 is kind of at yesterday's low, which is quite interesting for me because like we know that patterns repeat themselves in the market, especially Forex more than anything, just because they follow those technical patterns so often.
100%.
And what I liked was there was 1 minute divergence. So for the people that have taken the course with ASFX, we know that when price pulls to significant levels on the 1 minute, we can get 1 minute divergence that could signal a move higher or lower. And in this case, GJ could be signaling a move higher. And I was watching as it was building this 1 minute divergence at the same pace that it had the move up yesterday. I was watching it, and as it broke the ATMA at 5:15 your time,
Right
so
here.
11:15 South African. Yep, it broke the 8 for the first time, and I got in with my first. So as you saw, I had two positions on my
Yeah.
Instagram. I posted it.
Yeah.
I got in on the 1 minute at, I think it was it must have been just past 11. I'm just trying to get it on the 1 minute. just past 11 your time, as it broke the 50, as the 1 minute L50 was pulling into the buy zone. So that was
Yep.
my more aggressive entry.
Yep.
And it actually went about 0.5 R for me. And you see, I just pinned the 21 there on the next candle.
Right here.
And then it put up, but I had my stop at the low, so I didn't get stopped out. My stop was at 644, around the 64 area.
Right around here.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
And just to give myself good breathing room, because it was a more aggressive entry. But then as the 1 minute L50 pulled back into the bar zone, look, if you notice, so for the people watching, look how it pulls back below the 8, which isn't a good sign, but immediately it breaks the 8 EMA for the second time. And that is a good sign for our trade, because once it breaks the 8, especially with these, I would call this a D2, but it technically is a D1 with the overall high time frame trend.
Yep.
Because GJ and GU have been long biased.
Before you go forward from there,
the
I want to clarify that, because there were some questions about that. Like, people had questions about how you were reading it.
Yep.
Do you really think that the name of the entry matters? Are you really worried about if it's a D1 or an A1? To me, it makes more sense to just be focused on how am I using divergence off a 15-minute significant level to then find risk reward on the shorter time frames. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Definitely. I don't think the name really matters as such, because at the end of the day, you're reading risk reward and you're taking an entry signal that is proven and tested. I think whether it's a D1 or D2, make up your mind on it. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion.
Yep, that's what I said. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So call it a D1, D2, off the 15-minute 800, which is a significant level. So as it broke the 8, I got in with a strong break of the 200. So I sent my markups through on the group this morning on the coaches' ideas, but so I got in with a strong break of the 200 on the 1 minute.
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
So it should be, yep. We've been quite active.
It's been a busy morning. It's been a busy morning.
Yep.
We're almost there.
Almost.
Right here.
Yep. There you go. Yep. So that was my 1 minute entry. As it broke the 200 and the L50, you see the L50 came into the buy zone from my original entry, that more aggressive entry, and then it pulled back into a sell zone, but it held structure. It held that 1 minute divergence. It didn't come back down and break it. It held that structure and was making higher lows.
Yep, I have that marked right here.
Which is very solid.
Right
here.
And
now when I took that second entry, the 1 minute L50 literally almost immediately again came right back into the buy zone. And I think, obviously when we're trading towards the 50 EMA, we always know that can be a roadblock, because the 50 EMA is like our baseline effectively. So I knew that zone, and I was getting about 1.5 R, which isn't ideal, but it makes sense to trade. I got my base exit was about 1.6, 1.7 R.
Good.
And then it actually ended up, so I locked my stop and I ended up going to play some golf. As you know, can't be on the charts 24/7, but then it actually ended up pulling back down. And then you noted that, see how you noted to me how it broke the 8, and that's the end of the long ideas. And it actually ends up pulling back down. It wouldn't actually have stopped me out with my original stop.
No.
And it ends up presenting another entry and ripping overnight through into the Asian session.
No, and I think that makes sense that it doesn't stop you out, only because like you said, the structure, even before the point where it does stop you out in profit, the structure was good. So really what this was doing was just making another higher low off that bottom, right? For then this to continue up.
Yep.
But I think also the one thing you didn't really speak on is where you looked to take profit here. That's also not just the 1.5 R, but that's also the 200 and the 50 EMAs on the 15 minute, which when you're trading towards them, you know it can slow down there. You know, knowing now that it broke and moves higher, it's very easy to say, oh, I wish I would have just held my stop loss. But in reality, if this had stopped here and come down through the 800, you've been like, oh, bro, why didn't I take my full trade out at the 200 and the 50? I know that's such strong resistance. You know what I mean? So I think you did good to take the profit and lock the stop there. You know, that's exactly the way that I marked it up for my testing, and that's exactly the way that I would have done it. I think the other thing about this trade that's really interesting is that it does mimic the previous day's move almost identically. Like it comes down to the 800, moves through the 200 and the 50, and then continues all day. Here, it takes a little bit longer, but then look, it continues into the end of the day yesterday, and then now into today as well, continuing higher. So you had a great idea. I think part of the struggle for people is that buying something at the 800 EMA with a swapping liquid 50 is tough. So what would you say to those people? Like, how do you justify trading the swapping market sentiment line? Is it just that you see structure and you're like, okay, this, you know, I got risk reward and this makes sense? Why did you disregard the swapping liquid 50, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely. So for the guys coming in new into Asfx, I would definitely stay away from a swapping liquid 50. That isn't
That's
what.
exactly what I said to the guys that asked me, bro. I
Yeah,
told them, I said,
yeah,
don't try to do
yeah,
exactly what James sees. You know what I mean? He's been seeing this
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. Yeah, I think I'm very much what I found with since joining ASFX and after coming in, I'm very much a discretionary trader, like very much a field trader. So I'm good at recognizing patterns, and especially now with we have the EMAs, the TDR, the Asian range, we have things that can recognize patterns, and I always at the end of each day I always take screenshots of my markups and stuff like that, and it just builds that pattern recognition. So I
100%.
saw I've seen this pattern plenty of times before, and because I've been with you and ASFX for a while, I'm more confident in my trade ideas. And just going back to what you said about taking off, like that could have come back. Taking off at 1.5 hour is for me that's a great exit because it's a C setup for sure. It's a C setup.
Right.
And we know with C setups, not every C setup is going to rip 5 hour like this one did.
What
I
makes
mean,
it a C setup? That it is a swapping liquid 50 and that you're trading towards those EMAs? Is that what makes it the C to you?
yep.
Okay.
So,
I'm just asking questions
and I
because I
think
want
there
to
was
clarify
divergence
it.
from yesterday. Yep.
Right. And I only ask these
Yep.
questions because I want people to understand that are listening. Like, okay, you can still be
Yes.
flexible and stay on edge, but trade a lower probability setup. Like you sized it appropriately, I'm sure. And I think
Yep.
that
Yep.
with your mindset of like, let me just be grateful to get my 1.5 hour and then lock my stop. And if it wants to continue, that mindset over the long term pays more than it hurts you because some people will say like, oh, if you lock your stop loss and you get stopped out, you're leaving money on the table, the move could continue. But I argue that my experience has taught me I would rather get stopped out in profit and sometimes see it continue in my direction. And if I don't get another trade, I just don't get another trade, rather than not get stopped out in profit at all and take losses. I'd rather take small wins than take losses just to keep myself profitable, keep myself growing. Psychologically, I think the losses are very difficult to overcome. So when I can do anything to avoid them, really by locking the stop loss, that's the number one thing you can do. And then
Yep.
of course trading good trades, then normally you're going to end up on the right side of the trade, at least putting money in your account. Even if it's small money, I think it's still
Yeah.
better to put money in the account rather than to risk taking the loss. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, 100%. And I was actually going to go. So I remember when I first joined you, or I first found you on Instagram in August, about August 2019. I started trading in January 2019, and I always used to see like guys uh, tuning you on Instagram. Oh, you're only getting 25 pips. You're
All
only
the
getting 20
time, bro.
pips.
They used to grill
But
me up
bro,
all the time.
and the thing is, then when I joined you, I remember clearly. I actually still have the video saved in my notes because it's like a motivational video that when I first joined you. And I remember it was around April on the Facebook. Remember, you used to do those Facebook live recaps,
Yeah.
and basically, some guy asked you, Austin, because it was a C setup, and you locked your stop, even though it ended up ripping, and you're like, and he was like, Austin, why do you lock your stop? Look, you could have got another 40 pips, 50 pips.
Right.
But when you're trading $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 trading account, that small position that you have on could
It's
be 10 standards,
key
could be
word there,
15.
small.
Yeah,
Keyword small.
yeah,
It could
could
be
be
50 standards.
because your main lot size you use, position size you're using could be 60 standards,
That's
70
what I'm
standards.
saying.
I mean, yeah, so that small win is $7,000, $8,000. It's not. And that's what I learned from you is that I'm also a guy that likes to win a lot, and my win rate since being with you is above 80% over a year and a
Amazing.
half. So
Yeah.
I find that when I win a lot, even though they're small wins, it all adds up, and that's what I got from you, and I really feel that changed my trading.
Do you think that because of your experience now with the prop firms that you've worked with and also trading your own money, that prop firms have made you a better trader? Like getting that funding has made you a better trader? Would you say that? Or would you say you have to be a good trader before you get funding?
I would say you definitely have to be a good trader before getting funding, but I would definitely say that the prop firms have helped me a lot in my trading journey for sure, definitely.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest negative of working with a prop firm? Is there any?
I would say the biggest, if you can trade and you can trade well, I don't think there's any negatives.
No.
The only negative, no, if you can trade well and especially for me, that I'm a very much a field trader, I can be aggressive when I need to be, and I can back off when I don't need to be.
Sure.
That's what I feel my strength is. I know when to hit it and I know when to back off.
Yep.
And I think that the only negative that would be that there could be is that the passing the challenge is a specific period that you need to do
Good
it in.
point.
Other
Good
than
point.
that, once you got the live money, if you can trade, you can trade. You don't have to make. There's no profit targets, and you're just
Exactly.
getting
So
your hands on more capital. So yeah.
do you think that these challenges that stand in the way for some people, that they are a good thing because they kind of put you under the gun? For an aggressive guy like you, like it kind of worked to your strength versus someone who
Yep.
maybe is more picky. Do you think that those challenges like are a good thing for people, or does it not scare you? Like, how do you approach the challenge? If you were go back to when before you got funded with your first funding account, how many you got now? Two?
Yep. Two, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
and I'm
before,
actually just going now with another
right,
company now
right, right.
too, trying to give them a chance. Yep.
Right. So before the first funding account, where was your mindset then versus where it is now? Like, what would you go back and say to yourself to make it even easier? Because I don't think you struggled. I mean, I hate to
Yeah.
stroke you too hard here on YouTube, but I'm just saying I don't think you struggled that much to get funding. You picked it up very quickly,
Yep.
faster than most people that I've worked with. So, what would you tell yourself, if anything, at that point of just going into the funding companies?
The cool thing that I had was I'd already been consistently profitable for over 9-10 months before actually trying my first challenge. So
Sure.
I'd already almost been profitable for a year, so, which
Got it.
with this one system,
Got it.
so that definitely helps. I think the second thing for me is having played pro rugby. I'm used to having a lot of pressure and like eyes on me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that helped a lot. But I think for someone that's a little bit more picky, like I know Felipe, if he's listening, I know Felipe is a bit more picky, and I always tell him that, bro, you would ace a live account, but you just got to be a little bit more aggressive to get that 10% in, or whatever 8% in that specific time period. So I think also, like, I think it's a good, prop firms are good to get your hands on a lot of money, but you mustn't always place your trading ability on passing a challenge, because you could be making 5% a month, and 5% a month is extremely good. I mean, but you see, 5% a month won't make you pass the challenge,
Right.
but you're still a great trader.
Right. No, that's always been my beef with it. And that's why when I tell people like to look into the prop firms, I don't tell them what company to go to like I never have and I never will, because I think it's always up to the individual. Like for you, making 10% in a month is doable. But for some people, like you said,
Yep.
that are a little bit pickier, it's a little bit tougher. So
For
we've
sure.
got a couple questions in the chat for you, James,
Okay.
specifically. So everybody listening, appreciate
Sure.
y'all being here. I'm going to make sure that you guys can connect with James through Instagram and everywhere like that, on Twitter. But if you guys have any questions for him that you want to get some live answers, hit the chat now. And before we send him off, we'll bang out some questions. So first, Lucas said, James, which is the best skill that Asfx has taught you? It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
What do you think?
I would say that's a very good question. I haven't actually thought about this. Which is the best skill that ASFX has taught you?
There's a
I would
lot.
say, yeah, there's of course there's a lot. I would say the one that comes now off the top of the head, and obviously, I could answer one question. It could be something now. Tomorrow it
Sure.
could be, I could have think of
Sure.
something. But I would say the one that's coming now, so honest answer honestly,
Yeah.
would be the constant improvement, because like for like I was getting a bit after being successful with you with a year and a half. The other day you shat on me for not for using the 5 minute, and I was like, why am I doing this when I've been consistently profitable for a year and a bit? And the thing is, like, that's how I feel it was with when I was playing professional rugby. Like, they're not coaches and that aren't here to stroke you and say, oh, well done, good boy, good boy. Yes, there's times for that, but they're always wanting you to be better. And that's what I'm reading now in the Tim Grover book. The greats are always wanting to improve. They're not here to get sugarcoat and buttercoat things that you, and that's what I feel, that you are a very good educator. You always
Thank you.
are wanting the best out of the best traders in ASFX to continue to
Well,
learn. There's no like standstill.
no, because if you guys do well, it makes me look like I'm doing a great job. I don't have to say anything. Your success is
Exactly.
my success for real, So that's why I'm invested in seeing everyone in our group do well. But on top of that, I want to
Yep.
just touch before we go into some other questions. With that book, his new book is called Winning. His old book is called Relentless.
Yes.
With the book Winning, he really does describe winning as, like, he personifies it. Like, he makes it a real thing. Like, he says winning doesn't like when you do this. Winning likes when you do this. So it really does make it clear on what you need to do. And I think the reason why that book is so good for traders is because to be a successful trader, you need to be a winner. You can't be a winner 1 month and then a loser 1 month. You have to be out
Yes.
there every day to be your best self. Like I got a message yesterday from one of the guys in the group, a long message about how he took too much risk on one trade and blah, 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 blew himself up a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Like we've all been there, right? And I said to him a very short response back. All I said was, you know what you did wrong. I'm always here to give you feedback, but all we can do now is be better tomorrow than we were today. That's it.
Very true.
And I feel like that is what Tim teaches in that book about winning. It's like if you take a day off of trying to be a better version of yourself as a trader, as a human, as a man, someone else is going to beat you. Winning is going to take a step back and someone else will fill that gap and winning will go to someone else. That's the way that I kind of took it from that.
Very true.
Love that book. Love that book.
I'm about halfway through and it's great so far.
So I got another question for you from Rushir.
Sure.
How do you manage no trading when you're doing the funding challenges? It's a great question.
That's a very good question as well. I would say that when you actually stick to your better setups and the ones that you trade the best, you'll actually be able to maximize that. So basically, if you're getting if you know that you trade D1s off the 50 better, I would say rather hit those more heavier in the challenge. So let's say your 8% you hit with 1.5%. I would hit that with 1.82%, or hit it with 1.5. And what I've been doing well in the challenges is I'll get a A1 candle formation, I'll take it, and then there would be a pullback on the 1 minute, works out and goes to 1R. I'd actually pull most of the position off at 1R. That's what I would be doing, or 1.5 hour. That's what I feel that I've been doing well, and especially on those setups. You know that with a breakout trade like that, the next candle needs to be bullish. If it is bullish, cool, then you know, but you only can get 1.5 hours. So pull the whole trade, actually the whole trade at 1.5 hour. And
Makes sense.
And you actually just stack those wins.
Stack the wins. So instead of trying to hit the home run, that's really focusing in on, okay, let me just take a good entry signal and hit a single, hit a double, and just bag a win and move on. So, okay, I like that. I like that answer. For everybody who's having some buffering issues in the chat, I apologize. Technical issues are new to us here as we just try to figure out this screen sharing. So just work with us, hang out. Looks like we lost some viewers, but they're coming back. I don't know if that's on my end or on James's end or on both of our ends, but we'll make it work either way. Anyway, let's just finish up here, James. So tell me, with Euro GBP now coming lower, this is a good question to end us up with. How do you see this and how will you come back and document this? Will you document this as a trade that you should have been in? Will you document it as something that should have had a bigger stop loss? Like, where will you find your sweet spot in going back and looking at this? Because just to finish up my question, Dennis was in the trade this morning. I know you trade closely with Dennis. He didn't get stopped out on it. To me, you should have been stopped out on this if you're following the rules of where the stop loss should go. But I think he gave himself a bigger stop. Is that something you would do, or is that something that you would say is off edge?
You see, that's where I'm actually how I trade is that's if he felt he needed to give himself a bigger stop, I 100% go. If that's what he felt and what he saw at the time, that's cool. But again, for me, so I didn't take the trade because I was waiting for the 1 minute pullback. So there was no entry for me. So how I would document it, answering your question, is that I was available for the trade, but I didn't get in on it. But as you said, it technically it is off edge because you do want to. If he had moved his stop, that would be off edge. But if he gave himself that original stop at the top,
makes sense.
That would be fine,
that
in
makes
my
sense.
opinion, because
Yep, that makes sense. Because then what you're saying is he's going into the idea looking for risk reward with the bigger stop. So if he's going to put a 10 pip stop in, he's going to move less than 1R to low a day. So if he's okay with that, then that's okay. That's not off edge. But to me, I mean, I'm not taking a trade for 0.8R. I'm not.
And also the reason, going to a question again, why I'm not in EG is because to be honest, I don't really like if I have EG's got a pound cross in it. So if we have EG and GU and GJ on the table to trade, I'd rather trade GJ and GU than EG. EG is not one of the better pairs that I trade. Personally.
Right. No, I totally agree. All right, bro. This has been great. I appreciate you coming on. Anybody have any last minute questions?
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, of course, bro. Anybody have any last minute questions for James? It seems like our stream is doing a little bit better on its buffering here, but I think we covered a lot here, bro. I'm gonna clip some of this and post it up on on the channel. I appreciate you going over the GBP JPY with us. I think that everybody will find some value in that. We'll give it like another 5 seconds here, see if anybody has any last minute questions. For the rest of your day, what are you watching? What are you looking at? I mean, we got GBP CHF moving up.
Yeah, so I had the pairs that I had. We had quite a big watch list to start off, but the pairs that I have marked off is GJ, GCHF, GU, and EG. Those are the only other ones. And then I was also watching GCAD for a move lower with a T2, but obviously that would contradict with our pound long bias.
What do you think about when you get to this point in the trading day and you haven't taken a trade? What is to give everybody some context on how you deal with those slower periods? Like this week, I've been flat all week. I think you took GJ, so you've taken a couple of trades. But what advice?
I've taken EN Monday and GJ.
Right, right.
No, go ahead.
The EN shorts. I love that you always post the emoji with the shorts. Last thing,
shorts,
what do you give everybody some advice? Would you give everybody some advice on dealing with those slower trading days, dealing with those slower trading periods?
For sure. I would say, well, for me, what has helped, I was able to scale up very quickly in my trading. So getting that bigger account size, when you're trading over 100, 200K, it's 1% is $2,000, which is obviously a lot of money for a lot of people.
Right.
I would say also, so bigger account size does help, because if you're trading $1,000 account, is obviously not going to be the same. You could be making $1,000 in one trade, and as you grow, you just get more.
Right.
But I would say find something to do off the charts. Like for me, I enjoy my golf. So right now,
we know you do, bro.
Oh yes. So always around like 3 o'clock, I'll get a call from my girlfriend's dad saying, James, you're keen to play golf. And he's an accountant, by the way, and he never works. But he owns the business, and he gets people to work for him. It's smart labor.
That's how it is, bro.
So yeah. So he always calls me, hey, you want to play golf? And I'm like, cool, there's nothing to do. So I get off the desk. So I would say find something to do like that's actually beneficial. Like golf, I feel like golf is similar to trading. You can always better yourself. I'm always trying to
it's hard.
improve in my golf. And it's also mental. It's a hard game.
Yep.
So I feel that so I gym in the mornings, and then I get to the desk, and then I play golf in the afternoons. And that's my way of like releasing.
And then I know you've been big in the reading now. So I feel like the reading, so it's like, I think the reason why I'm so keen on sharing your story more and more, just like with Jerome I have and with the other guys, is because I feel like people can look at you and see your patience getting greater, see your patience bar increasing. And I think that it comes from not only you improving every day as a trader, but you challenging yourself off the chart to be a better version of yourself, a better boyfriend, a better son-in-law, a better man, just in general, challenging yourself to push your brain into deeper thought, I think then translates into better trading, because if you know yourself better, you're going to make good decisions. I feel like for me, the one thing that I've really stepped into is just staying in my own lane. And that's why I love working with you, because we work together so closely, yet I feel like we're not in the same lane at all. Like you're focused here and I'm focused right here. We're running next to each other, but we'll never crisscross, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's where that individualism shows, and then that individualism comes out in your trading as, oh, I don't care what Austin's trading. If he's not in this and I like it, I'm taking the trade. Oh, Austin's in this and I don't like it, I'm not taking the trade. I think that level of patience comes from, like I said, challenging yourself to be the best version of yourself, because when you're being the best version of yourself, you're confident, you're independent. You don't need to follow anybody else, So love it, bro.
True.
Great answers, great questions from everybody. Thank you for being here, James. I appreciate you, brother. You can hop off whenever you're ready. And then for everybody that's been here just dealing with the stream lagging and all that stuff, I appreciate you guys dealing with us. We're going to do this more often. I'm going to bring James on as often as we can and as often as you guys want. If we want to do maybe some Q&A stuff, James, maybe we do some more analysis later this week. So I think it's good.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks so much for having me, Austin. I definitely feel like doing something different like this and actually getting someone maybe other than you to give answers opens up a broader horizon for
100%. 100%, bro. Enjoy your golf. Enjoy the rest of your morning. If you find a trade, let us know in the group chat. If you don't, we'll whack it again tomorrow on Thursday.
Will do. 100%. Cheers, Austin.
Thanks, bro.